Bob Chesney has begun to beef up front for UCLA with their now 20-plus commitments via the transfer portal.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free, wherever it's your podcast, and it's available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, download. Thanks for your support. Welcome back, everydayers. Everything's changing by the hour, by the minute, by the post, by the commitment. And that's where we're at this day and age. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. Visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day. So what we're talking about today, we're going to preview UCLA versus Maryland, give my thoughts, possible predictions in that game, and we're going to lead off with this. UCLA now has 20-plus commitments via the portal. Some familiar faces, some goodbyes, while the Bruins continue to keep guys staying with their own team. So let's start with this. The Bruins have begun to beef up front with their latest commitments over the last couple of days since I've done my last episode, last day or so. UCLA, their last few commitments have officially been, one, two, three, four of their last five commits have addressed either the O-line or the D-line, with one being a punter, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Bob Chesney slowly going almost position by position, working with, all right, how do we address the secondary? Can we get some linebacker commits? The Bruins were very skilled position heavy, a lot of wide receivers not too long ago, as the Bruins begin to address the position groups that gave UCLA the most trouble these first 2 years in the Big Ten, which was the lack of size, lack of skill, lack of athleticism on the O-line and the D-line during 24 and 25. So here are the guys. We're going to start with the D-line for UCLA. The Bruins, on their own website, had their own running tally. So these are the guys listed who have committed officially and have signed with UCLA. You've got Gavin Blum. Gavin Blum is maybe not somebody you've heard of because he's a JUCO guy coming from Saddleback College. That's in deep Orange County. 1 year of JUCO ball for Gavin Blum, but for the 6'3", 280-pounder who played high school ball at San Juan Hills, first team All-American, All-California Region 3 first team in the California Community College Football Coaches Association. I dare you to say that 10 times fast. Basically what that means, he was all first league. He helped his team win a league title, 10 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. All right, that's what he was doing over with Saddleback. 35 tackles this year and was making big-time plays. And you wonder, how's that going to translate from JUCO to D1 Big Ten football? Well, the Bruins need to find some top-tier talent. And before the portal was truly a thing, the places you'll go find talent was at the JUCO level. Some guys would bounce back, go JUCO, and then come back to Division I football. So we'll see what Gavin Blum in his first year maybe developed a little bit more, hit a little bit more of the weight room, had a good season at the JUCO level, and the Bruins got a big ad there. Then UCLA went after a former player for Bob Chesney at James Madison. Last year it was Daryl Dengoy, who is a 6'2" D lineman coming from Rutgers, played with James Madison in 2024, was there in 2023 under Curt Cignetti, but only had 2 games, got a red shirt. 18 games in his career, and the 2024 year, this is what earned him a Big Ten spot. His 2024 season at James Madison for Daryl, 28 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, a sack, and a block in his 2024 redshirt freshman campaign. All right? Not exactly Sahir West numbers, but dominant numbers up front for Daryl, who went to Rutgers, didn't exactly have a lot going on there. I believe he was injured, and in 4 games wasn't a true difference maker for the Scarlet Knights. But now he comes back more towards the western side of the United States to follow his former coach, Bob Chesney, because the Bruins need guys who can play, and he balled out for Bob Chesney a couple of seasons ago. The thing was, different defensive coordinator in 2024. So we'll see how that plays out. So far, UCLA's beefing up front. On the O-line, you got another JMU commit. Carter Sweezy on the UCLA website, 6'1", 327 pounds. So big, girthy, if you will. left guard, starting left guard for the Dukes. Third team All Sun Belt, 23 starts, including every game in the 2025 season. All right. And for the most part, that JMU O-line held up. And if UCLA wants to get more starters, more consistent players under the Dean Kennedy offense, which is run first, run heavy, then you're going to get a Sweezy in there coming over to help UCLA bolster the O-line. So with UCLA, that's another O-lineman, another JMU commit following over. And then you add in Derek Osmond, who was already crystal balled to UCLA early in the week. I talked about him, hailing from Harvard. And 24/7 Sports Bleep Bro Report had it first. UCLA gets Derek Osmond to commit from Harvard. He's not listed yet as an official signee, official player that is coming to UCLA, but he has committed, just hasn't made it to the official website as of this recording. So you make that 3 guys who are officially with UCLA, another one in the process of getting through whatever it takes to be a grad transfer. So Osmond comes from Harvard to be that O-line transfer for the Bruins. Those are the guys that now help add that total up to 20 plus transfers if you include the JUCO transfer. One more final transfer for the Bruins is a familiar face, Chase Berry. Yes, the UCLA punter who was a part of the program from 2022 to 2024. So he saw Chip Kelly, he's seen Deshaun Foster, went to Oklahoma State where he saw his own coach get fired in 2025. Berry only punted in 1 game in 2025. And now he made his way back to UCLA, according to 24/7 Sports and Bro Report Online. So for Berry, a holder for the Bruins in 2024, when you got the likes of the UCLA kicker coming back in Mateen Begani, getting that holder kicker combination back, and then Berry, a punter, while you watch Will Carroll head to the portal, also reported by 24/7 Sports, UCLA flip-flopping punters, getting one to come back home. Wonder what the reasoning was for that, but either way, Berry comes back, and the Bruins have a new punter, a former holder, and the kicker Mateen Begani is returning for UCLA. Other returning news, I saw LaRue Zamorano. Not sure if I saw that from On3 and Tracy McDaniel first, but the Bruins did get LaRue Zamorano. Another key returner in the secondary was Scooter Jackson, with the likes of Roderick Pleasant and Cole Martin. So that's now 4 separate guys returning for UCLA in the secondary, a group that's going to get tighter, get better. And as long as UCLA starts adding talent on the D-line and 1 or 2 more legitimate linebacking talents, then the Bruins could have a solid defense. But they're still a few steps away from being able to compete game in and game out as a dominant JMU defense that they had in 25 and bringing that over to UCLA in 2026. Don't get me wrong, I'm building hope, but we're not there to say they're dominant just yet. The Bruins are also building up front, so that means Nico has weapons. He's got a running back with Wayne Knight, and UCLA is beefing things up in front for him so they can go with a true RPO and be successful with it rather than what UCLA had with Eric Bieniemy or Tino Sunseri or Jerry Neuheisel, which was a very porous offensive line because Chip Kelly failed to recruit. That's not Bob Chesney's MO. They are absolutely attacking what they need. And if the Bruins can go get another O-lineman, it looks like from what I saw, Greg Biggins of the Rivals on 3 Network, UCLA is going to be hosting a potential O-line transfer. Big boy from Cal Poly, who would be making the jump up from FCS Big Sky football to the Big Ten. But it looks like there's a lot of suitors from what I was saying from Greg Biggins, and the Bruins are on that eventual visit list. So there's still a guy or two the Bruins can utilize to beef up front, add to the pass rush, and if the UCLA Bruins can steal one of those 2 Cal linebackers in the portal, then the Bruins could pretty much be set for a much better team in 2026. I just have no idea where that win-loss total will fall at this very moment. But the Bruins up to 20 plus transfers. We'll see how Bob Chesney puts the bow on this class to finish off the portal window and the portal season. Next, we're talking UCLA men's hoops. What's going to take to get out of this funk? What are they expecting to miss? And what's it going to be like when they play the Maryland Terrapins against Buzz Williams, different coach from last year for Maryland, as they host them in Pauley Pavilion. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. It's stress from the work, money, life. It just doesn't switch off at night, and it shows up at the worst possible time. Rugiet Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment created to both support both the brain and the body, so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Rugiet Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. Connect with a board-certified doctor online, and everything ships discreetly to your door. And if you've been thinking about taking that next step, now's the time. Head to rugiet.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege. Get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rugiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, and feel ready. Cruising on here with Locked On UCLA, we're going back to the hardwood. The Bruins welcoming in Maryland. Last year, the Bruins taken a big loss at the beginning of Big Ten play when they had that Rutgers-Maryland road trip. The year before, Maryland came and beat UCLA in Pauley Pavilion, part of a non-conference stretch. And we're a few years removed, a few Decembers removed from UCLA's dominant display down at College Park. I believe the baseball team had a fun time at College Park this year. Either way, anyways, UCLA is hosting what is somewhat a must-win game. The Bruins need some good vibes, and there's no way to say it. UCLA needs to find a way to be successful small or get Xavier Booker engaged. Because Booker coming to UCLA from Michigan State didn't do much for Tom Izzo. The hope was that Mick Cronin could do something here, and I know not too long ago Cronin had mentioned about his ankle injury being a factor, but now that he's played limited minutes over the last few weeks, last few games, there's a growing trend. And we're heading towards Brandon Williams starting as the 5. But Cronin's most recent media availability said Williams played that last game, was a little under the weather, seemed like there's some cramping, some stomach issues. So maybe that was a reason why he wasn't as effective. But Booker, not there, was a 2 minutes guy. He is putting Booker on the bench. We'll see what happens. So for the starting lineup, a game that looks like UCLA might be without Sky Clark, who has hurt his hammy, had to sit on a plane all the way back to Los Angeles, all the way back to Westwood. Mick Cronin's probably going to rest Sky Clark unless there's some big change overnight prior to the game. Because UCLA still has to fly back and play Penn State and Ohio State. Why push it at home versus Maryland, which is a game UCLA could and should win at home. Could and should win. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed, because UCLA has been anything but a guarantee this season. So you really need the likes of anybody to shoot the ball. Anybody. Bilodeau has been the most consistent of the Bruins with his 18 points per game. But without your second leading scorer, this is hopefully where Donovan Dent starts to take over. Can start consistently hitting a mid-range jumper. Maybe getting some confidence in taking an open three-point shot, which forces other teams' guards to play a little bit closer to him on the wing. If not, they're going to sag off a little bit and let them have some space when Dent tries to drive and cross over the defense before he kicks out. So the big name in this game, can UCLA score the basketball from deep? They were horrible at Iowa. They were very bad at Wisconsin. Can they shoot it from deep? Otherwise, UCLA is a one-dimensional, hope that Bilodeau can pick and pop, hope that Dent can get in the paint, and we'll see if Eric Daly Jr.'s non-existent offensive game wakes up prior to Maryland, because Daly Jr. has also been part of the problem, because you're losing Booker out of the starting lineup if you're not utilizing him, as Cronin has been barely. Daly Jr.'s been a non-factor. Clark's gone. You're running out of options if you're throwing Trent Perry and Jamar Brown in there to score. Somebody's got to be able to shoot, and if Clark's not doing it, Daly can't do it, somebody has to do it. Let's take a look more at Maryland. A Maryland team that actually comes into this game under 500. Maryland is winless in the Big Ten. They are 7-8 overall. So you would think if UCLA loses this game, this would be the most embarrassing loss. I would say we're not at that point yet, because it's the same Maryland team that almost beat Michigan. And you're like, Zach, they gave up 100 points at home to Michigan, and they lost by 18. Maryland was leading by 5 at the break, had a solid lead, and then Michigan went on a big-time second-half run after they had ejected Solomon Thomas. They had lost Pharrell Payne, their leading scorer, who has not played since, and the Maryland Terps have struggled. So for the Terrapins, this is a good matchup for UCLA if Payne does not play, right? Payne is the Maryland's leading scorer, 17 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, a 6'9" center. Hurt was hit pretty badly earlier in the year, and then has not played for Maryland since the Michigan game, which has been a few weeks' time. With him out, they are 1-3, namely a lot of losses in Big Ten play. So if he doesn't play and is unavailable, haven't been able to confirm whether this might be his first chance to play in the new year. If he doesn't play, a great chance for UCLA to figure out their small lineup. An opportunity of a lifetime for Brandon Williams to earn himself a starting spot, which he didn't have earlier this year. He had as a freshman a couple years ago, but now playing as the small ball 5 is not what I would have slated Brandon Williams to be coming off his freshman year when he was more of a 4. That's what Mick Cronin needs out of him. Now the Bruins are pivoting to, if Payne's out, you've got to stop David Coit. Coit is the guy that's not necessarily going to start for Buzz Williams. He is a 3-point shooter, 41% from downtown, 92% from 3, and is the guy that's the leading scorer since Payne's been out. Coit against Michigan, 31 points, 8 of 12 from downtown, was almost single-handedly the reason Maryland took down Michigan at home, because he was that red hot from 3. And he doesn't even start half the time. The last game for Maryland against Indiana, he wasn't in the starting lineup. Both the way UCLA's been starting so poorly since the calendar flipped to 2026, against Iowa down 24 in the first half, against Wisconsin down big again in the first half, I would think you would put in Coit as the starter if you're Buzz Williams to get that hot stretch from 3 early, seeing how UCLA has been bad out of the gates. We've seen a lot of times UCLA play good and then come bad out of the locker room at halftime. Now they've just straight stunk right off the opening jump. So we'll see what UCLA can do there. Coit's important. Solomon Washington, I think I said Solomon Thomas earlier. Solomon Washington has been a guy that has played about 7 or so games, 7 starts. Was a non-factor in the Michigan game because he got booted a couple of technical fouls, got taken out of the game after he hit a big 3. So that was a game where Maryland, despite being shorthanded, almost beat Michigan, but they just haven't been the same team since. Buzz Williams this year, going up and down the lineup, has used 11 different players in the starting 5. Remember that, starting 5, 11 different players have started for him this year. You compare that to UCLA, the Bruins have used 9. Cronin has done his best. He benched all his starters one game. He did as much as he could to send a message. A lot of guys have been hurt, from Dent to Bilodeau to Clark to Daly. And you mix in Trent Perry. Booker has not even started sometimes. And yet, all of that, UCLA still only used 9 different guys in the starting lineup. With my math, I believe it's correct. While Maryland, that's how much they've been injured, how much they've had to switch and stay on their toes to keep their lineup fresh. So if they figure it out, and it happens to be on a Saturday evening in Pauley Pavilion, watch out. Because this is a scrappy team. Buzz Williams teams are always tough to beat, tough to play against. So I think the Bruins got to keep out. Despite playing a winless team in Maryland, this is not the worst team in the Big Ten. This is a snake bit team in the Big Ten. UCLA, I'm not sure if they've been snake bit because they haven't been consistent all year long, but just like Maryland, their starting 5 hasn't been consistent because right as one gets back, another dude goes down and another dude goes down. And then Cronin is trying to fire this team up while they're running out of time to build a resume without needing to win the Big Ten tournament. Still a few months' time, but it starts getting a lot tougher when you got to beat Purdue and Michigan State or Michigan and win one of those games to get in the tournament. You don't want to bank on one of those wins. You want to beat all the other teams and then have the confidence to do it instead of needing the win to get in the tournament. Maryland could be that turning point, or it couldn't be. If they lose, then UCLA's got another tough travel week. Ohio State and Penn State, not in that order, where I'm still thinking UCLA goes 1-2 in these next 3 games. And it's not a guarantee that that one win is at home versus Maryland, where you then play Penn State on the road, who almost took down Michigan in front of an empty arena. And Ohio State's been semi-competitive last couple of years. They're tough to beat in Columbus for an LA-based team to go fly across the country for the second time in 3 weeks. I think after that, once we reach MLK week, I think that's when the Bruins, once they're at home for a while, they start off with Purdue, that's when the success will come. But until then, they're going to need somebody to step up. And I'm going to tell you my keys next on Locked On UCLA. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on the action every single game and every single day of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost on the bets you already feel good about. Right up the favorite when you think a team's going to control the matchup, or take a shot on the underdog if you feel like the upset's coming. Build a parlay around the players and the moments that you think will decide the game. Apply the profit boost and you get even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is a perfect moment for playoff football. FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. Visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day. Cruising on here in Locked On UCLA, Zach with you guys. Final segment, we're talking the keys to the UCLA-Maryland game. The Bruins, they desperately need a win in the worst way, and this is who I am pinning my hopes to get red hot for the Bruins. We need Eric Daly Jr. to wake up. Let's tell you what's been going on with Eric Daly Jr. In his second year at UCLA, his shooting numbers are down, way down from three-point land. Last year, Eric Daly Jr. was a 37% three-point shooter. In 33 games, 33 starts, shot 37%, close to 38%, hit 34 threes. This year, Eric Daly Jr. is a 28% three-point shooter. Now, his free throw numbers are actually improved, 72% to 73%. That's close enough that could shift. His overall shooting numbers, 50% to another 50%. So it's by decimal points that Eric Daly Jr. was shooting better last year from the field, even though his numbers are way down from three. In his last 5 games, Eric Daly Jr., since the Oregon game, if you include Gonzaga as that starting game, 0 for 15 from three. And he's attempted threes in every single one of those games. His scoring is down by a point. His turnovers are up. In 33 games, Eric Daly Jr. had 33 turnovers. This year, in 14 games, Eric Daly Jr. has 21 turnovers and 21 assists. So the assists are slightly up. Both the ball expected to be in his hands a little bit more on the wing. He's turning it over a little bit. The defensive numbers aren't as staggering as they were, right? Because he's not going to go steal it from a 4 with quick hands. He's got to do it from a wing, or depending on who he's got defensively in the matchup. I'm not exactly defending or arguing for or against his defensive numbers, but his turnovers are up, his scoring is down, and his shooting is way, way down. And I wonder if the shift from going from the small ball lineup to the big lineup hurt Daly Jr. early in the year. The other thing is he came into the season hurt. So he missed those first couple of exhibition games, first part of the season. So EDJ probably wasn't as ready to go to start the season as he was now. And maybe that didn't hurt him early. EDJ only had a couple of missed opportunities from three through the first parts of the season. In the first, 9 games of the year, only a couple of games when he went 0 for 3. Against Washington, where he was a non-factor, and against Sac State, where he was 0 for 3, but 5 of 10 from the field. Something now is not clicking because he's shooting in most of these games better than 50%. Arizona State 0 for 6 and Cal Poly might be the outliers, but it's him not being as successful, not as confident. He would take contested threes last year and bury it. Those Oregon games were masterpieces. Even the one this year when he faced the Oregon Ducks, once again, a near masterpiece. 18 points, 8 boards on 6 of 9 shooting, 50% from 3. Now, those are ridiculous numbers, but even if he goes closer to 14 points per game and 40% from 3 or 35% from 3, that's a lot better production than what he's been giving this year. Last year, he was great one-on-one. I don't exactly have the super uber analytics, but when he had the ball in the wing, when he was backing down his guy and hit a fadeaway jumper in his face, you'd almost bank on him knocking it down. Just like you have Bilodeau hitting that mid-range jumper or the pick and pop 3 this year, EDJ last season was one of those guys backing down his defender, would kiss it off the glass, had an array of moves that just are not working this year. So I am picking him to be my go-to guy to wake up and step it up. Because Dent has somewhat picked it up. Bilodeau can only do so much. Perry is still growing in his role, and he'd be the obvious starting candidate. with Sky Clark expected to be out, but EDJ is the one that UCLA I think is missing the most. If Cronin's going to go hard, lean hard into the small ball lineup, then EDJ has to play like a true 3. Because if Brandon Williams is either going to play the 5, that still leaves Bilodeau at the 4. Daly Jr.'s got to find a way to score and knock it down from deep. Because with Clark out, it was EDJ who was hitting a lot of threes last year, helping balance the team, become a much improved three-point shooting team from a couple of years ago, where they were dangerously close to being the worst UCLA three-point shooting team ever by percentage. They got high at the end of the year, so that didn't happen. So now the Bruins need to find a way to get EDJ rock solid. He just hasn't fully been there. I'm not sure if it's a health thing, if it's a confidence thing, if he's just lost the stroke. But against Maryland would be a great time against a winless Big Ten team to get UCLA the win. There are no FanDuel odds on this game just yet, but I'm thinking UCLA can win it and will win it by about 5 points. That's my thought. There's no line at this moment that I've seen, but UCLA by 5 in a close, hotly contested game. They win it at home, where we're wondering why they didn't blow them out by more, but Maryland's a lot better than what the record says they are. And if Pharrell Payne plays, they're definitely much better than what the record says they are. So take a look at that pregame injury report. Sky Clark, Pharrell Payne, and who's out for Maryland. If they have a full starting lineup, they will be tough to beat at home despite being an 0-4 Big Ten team at the moment. And UCLA needs to stack all the wins they can to not have to play at the very back end of that Big Ten tournament. But until next time, we'll recap this game. We'll talk more UCLA women's hoops. They got more games this weekend. And anytime there's a commit, we'll talk about it here over the weekend. Is there a big JMU commit coming? Is there another big man coming up front? We'll talk about it here on Locked On UCLA. Like, comment, subscribe, download. Thanks for your support. Hands up, Bruins fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA, fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.